Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. Let's do a deck tech for Celes Rune Knight from the new Final Fantasy set. This will be the first of two deck show-offs that I want to do for this commander. This is the one that I built first and then broke down and then I made the second, but I kind of do want to make a second deck of her in paper, have both on hand, and then play that, because I really like her. She's maybe my favorite character from Final Fantasy VI, my favorite Final Fantasy, and then also mechanically, I really like how she works. And as we can see, we got Agatha's Cauldron on the right. I have a few copies of this for my standard deck, but I don't play standard very much, and I bought those copies of Agatha's Cauldron knowing that I was going to use them in other formats, and here, to be able to use it is pretty great. But yeah, I think Celes is a really good enabler for the Cauldron, so let's have a look at how that works. But Celes, when I play her, I can discard as many cards as I like from my hand into my graveyard and then draw that many +1. So that's good to fill my graveyard, which Agatha's Cauldron wants. It can draw from there in order to get creatures with nice abilities. And then also, I've discovered I enjoy discarding cards. That's a very red thing. I have another mono-red deck which does that a lot as well. And then, Celes' second ability is whenever one or more creatures enters from the graveyard, I can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature. And that's another thing that Agatha's Cauldron likes. Anybody with a +1/+1 counter on it will get all the abilities of what is in the cauldron. So yeah, it's kind of they're working together, coming and going. It's really good stuff. So, looking at who would be good to kind of pitch to the graveyard and then put into the cauldron, we have a bunch of creatures with interesting activated abilities. There are others, but these are the ones that I have decided on for this build. But Asmodeus, I can put him in the cauldron. I can get access to the draw 7 cards ability. Typically, this would be like a like there's a positive, but there's a drawback, because here there's this binding contract part where I have to exile cards rather than draw. But since Asmodeus will be in the cauldron, I will only get access to that. I don't get the demerit. So I can just pay 3 of any color and then draw 7 cards. That's a pretty powerful ability. And then it would be any color because the cauldron will also do that. You may spend mana as though it were any color. And then we have a Bloodflyer Colossus. I can pay 1 and then sacrifice somebody with a +1/+1 counter to do 6 damage to every creature, every player. I am not sure about the stacking of this, or like the order of events. Like, what if I sacrifice 3 guys at once? Would it all happen at once, or would the first one go off and then kill everything? So I don't know about that. Next is a Heartless Hiretsugu. We can tap him to do the player's life total half damage, and then put that on multiple characters. You might be able to just kill people right there. Kuro, Pit Lord. I can pay life to do -1/-1 on creatures. That's pretty powerful. That gets around indestructible and stuff. And then a Minion of Leshrac, I can tap to destroy target creature or land. Pretty powerful ability. This guy also has a lot of demerits for being on the field, but since he won't be on the field, he'll be in the cauldron. Then we only get this activated ability. And then a Pestilence Demon, spend 1 to do 1 damage to everything. Shaoku, I guess that's how you say it, Endbringer. This is a reserved list card, actually. This also has demerits, but it won't happen because it'll be in the cauldron. We can just tap to exile target creature, and then put a +1/+1 counter on this character, so good stuff there. Steel Hellkite, I think this is a pretty famous card. I can attack and then spend X and destroy all permanents with X value of that player that I hit. Next is a Tauriel. I can tap her to choose a creature card at random from a target opponent's graveyard, put that card onto the battlefield under my control. And then yeah, if I have multiple characters, multiple creatures I can tap, I can take multiple creatures from graveyards. And then here's Ulamog's Dreadsire. I can tap him to create more Eldrazi. So I could maybe create 3-4 Eldrazi in one turn. That would be cool. And then Voldaren Thrillseeker. This is also from my standard deck, but I can sacrifice the creatures with +1/+1 counters to do damage equal to their power to any target. So maybe if I got some Eldrazi and they had some counters on them, I could sacrifice them to do big damage. But yeah, there are, of course, lots of other candidates to put into the Cauldron. I have considering cards at the bottom as well. And then I have a bunch of cards that do draw and discard effects, so that I can discard cards into my library, or into my graveyard, so I could maybe recur them later. But yeah, some of this like draw, discard, or even like wheels here. Decaying Time Loop is really good because it has retrace. I can cast it from the graveyard if I discard a land. Later game, that's going to be pretty common. And then other stuff like this. First day of class. We're not going to use any learn cards, so it's basically a discard one, draw one. And get the +1/+1 counters. Here's another wheel. Heartwarming Redemption. Here is a wheel with flashback, so we can cast it twice, actually. There are other cards with draw, discard with flashback. I should add them to this deck. And then, in order to activate Celes' ability of playing creatures from my graveyard, I have a lot of creatures where they have abilities or triggers to get them back from the graveyard. And that's kind of like, that's more efficient use of like slot space. I could play other cards in order to bring back creatures from the graveyard, but instead I'm just going for the characters that come back themselves, so I don't need to spend other cards to bring them back. But Bloodghast comes back when I play a land, Blood-Soaked Champion comes back when I attack, Cult Conscript comes back when somebody dies, Flamewake Phoenix comes back when I have a big creature, could be my commander who has 4 power. Forsaken Miner comes back when I commit crimes. Haunted Dead, which was actually much better in practice than I was expecting. But I can have it in the graveyard, spend 1 in black, and then discard 2 cards and bring it back to the battlefield. So it's get +1/+1 counters on all my creatures when it comes back, but it's also helping me discard cards, so I could put more stuff that I want there into the graveyard. Very, very cool. And then if it dies every turn, I can bring it back every turn. Pretty powerful. The only downside of this card, maybe, is that it won't draw me cards in addition to discarding, so I can end up with empty hands if I go too hard on this. And that is something that I ran into trouble with this deck, is like, not having a lot of cards in hand. When you have fewer cards in hand, then a wheel is less useful, so I need to be careful about that. Haunt of the Dead Marshes comes back when I have a legendary creature. Lightning Phoenix comes back when I do 3 damage. Persistent Specimen comes back when I pay mana. Phoenix Chick comes back when I attack. Razorlash Transmogrant comes back when I just pay a couple mana, and then also comes back with a +1/+1 counter, so that's cool. And then Squeak comes back even from exile, so yeah, he's pretty cool. And then I have a few spells that are sort of like a combination of like Protection or Blink. Blacksmith Skills, just straight up protection, but then these other 3, I could exile my commander, Celes. So she disappears, and then she comes back, and then I would get the discard and draw effect again. I could use that for the discard draw effect, or I could use it to protect her. In case there's some kind of destroy spell, I can just get her out of there. And then come back, and then get the discard draw effect. So yeah, I like these cards. And then I have a few tutors, and these are all here to grab the Cauldron, because the deck really kind of centers around it. It can probably still win without it, but it's more fun if I have the Cauldron out. But Against All Odds is great because I can do both things. I can both blink Celes to get another discard draw, and also bring back the Cauldron from the graveyard. Dune Drifter, I get the choice of bringing back whatever I like as long as I pay enough. I could just spend 4 to get back the Cauldron. Final Parting, I could get the Cauldron from the library and then put something nice into my graveyard. Gamble is a tutor. This is the only card that is making this a bracket 3. I could certainly take that out. Oh, I might be lying about that. There might be the Underworld Breach. That's another good way to play permanents from my graveyard. Jolted Awake. This can get back a creature artifact. Mana cost 2 or less if I don't have other energy, so that's perfect. Reckless Handling, kind of similar to Gamble. Recommission. I can get back a creature or artifact, mana value 3 or less. Put a +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature. And then Savine's Reclamation. I can grab the Cauldron back twice with this. And then I have Removal. It might be weird choices here, but these are like the ones that I had on hand. I have nice Removal, but back at home, I don't have access to it now. But what I had on hand, this is what I put in there. You could just put in whatever you like for that. Touch the Spirit Realm here is nice, because I could remove something of my opponent's, or, again, I could blink my Celes in order to get the discard draw effects. Oh, Shenanigans is cool because it has Dredge. I could play it, or get it back from my graveyard. And then Gix's Command, I can put on the +1 counters on people. That's cool. And then Mishra's Command, I have the discard draw, in addition to doing damage to people. And then I have various artifacts for just mana. And then a Sonic Screwdriver, I can use this to untap the Cauldron, so I can tap it twice in a cycle. Maybe put 2 interesting abilities in there. But it has other stuff too. Tap to add mana, scry, make a creature unblockable. And then I have various creatures, which could maybe be good for early game casting, or they can also be put into the Cauldron. Like a Bounty Agent, I can put her in the Cauldron to have everybody destroy legendary stuff. Or I can put in Gingerbrute to give anybody the ability to be unblockable. And this actually turned out to be needed as well. There were times when I was on a clogged board state and I couldn't get through. So yeah, I do want actually a few effects where I cannot be blocked. Hazda Shieldmate, if I put him in the Cauldron, I can protect myself from damage. Harmonic Prodigy, she can double Celes' triggers. Hopeful Initiate, I can remove +1/+1 counters from anybody, and then destroy artifacts and enchantments. Lion Sash, I can eat stuff from people's graveyards if I don't want them there, and also get +1/+1 counters. Mother of Runes, she can protect me, or I can put her in the Cauldron to give everybody protection to give to each other. Royal Assassin, I can tap to destroy tap creatures. Selfless Spirit, protection, or give everybody the potential for protection. Soltari Emissary, this is another one like a Gingerbrute, where I can give people unblockable abilities. Soulbright Flamekin is interesting. I can give anybody the possibility of giving other people trample, and also creating 8 red mana. And then Thundering Raiju, I can attack and then do damage based on how many guys I have with +1/+1 counters. This could be 5 or more damage to everybody, potentially. Tin Street Dodger, this is another way to give people unblockable. Although there have been a couple of precons lately that were released that have Defender guys, so I don't know. And then this might be surprising, but White Plume Adventurer, so I can get the initiative, but it's kind of more played for the second ability, where at every upkeep, including my opponents, I can untap a creature or all creatures I control. Because I have some tap abilities that would be good for the Cauldron, so if I could tap those multiple times in a round, that would be very powerful. But then having this is also part of the reason why I need the unblockable creatures, so that I can keep taking the initiative back. And then I have various lands. I haven't really put too much thought into this. You could put in whatever you got. But yeah, that is a quick look at the deck. I have a lot of the cards, or I have all the cards that are displayed in here, but I don't have it put together as a deck. In the future, though, I think I would like to try it out again. It can make for some wacky, funny board states. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Take care.